Hello, everyone out there watching. I want to thank you for tuning in today. And I am super excited about the person I have on today, and we're having a chat with. Um, what can I say about this gentleman here? Well, his posts inspire me. On Facebook, his posts inspire me. His posts really get me to thinking. And I ran across a post of his, and I noticed that his posts are always talking about the power of our minds and what abilities we have to control our current situation just using the power of thought. And I know this is a very deep and wide subject. So I decided to ask him to come on and talk with us about it today. And I have a very special guest. It's I don't know how we've become this these real good friendship just over exchanging messages on Facebook. But I want to welcome Mr. Greg DeMario.
Thank you. I appreciate the invite. I appreciate that. It's a pleasure to be here, Mark.
Hey.
Really.
So tell everyone that's listening about yourself.
Yeah. So I actually started in business as far as I started with network marketing back
Okay.
in '93 with the big one. Amway.
Okay. Okay.
A friend of mine, wanted me to get involved with Amway. Now I was extremely shy, painfully shy, no self-esteem,
Mm-hmm.
no zero self-esteem, and he put me on a boat to go fishing, and
Okay.
I know now why, because I couldn't jump off and start swimming to shore, so he trapped me. I know his strategic methodology he used, but he had me on the boat. He talked about it, and I was like, okay. He gave me some videos or some audios in that day, and I listened to the audios. I wasn't interested, but I gradually got interested in the premise of working from home and creating a residual income. That was the first time I actually ever really heard of the premise, the concept of residual income. So I got involved with Amway network marketing, and it was an experience of transformation more than anything else. It was a financial success, but it was a transformation where I evolved from the person who was shy, zero self-esteem, who couldn't look people in the eye, to somebody who, when I talked to somebody, they looked at me with respect. It took me to speed things up a little bit. It took me 1 year. 1 year, actually. This is in the day of the hotel meetings, if you remember those times.
Oh yes. Oh
Yeah.
yes. Where they would come and 2 day seminar at a hotel.
Yeah, we would have a meeting every Tuesday.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
I would get people there. Usually I would interview the person prior to get them there. I would meet them at, say, a mall or whatever.
Okay.
And I did that religiously. My leader, if you will, the diamond in the company said, to talk to 3 people a day, and not necessarily talk to them, but actually interview them. So you had to, well, he wanted you to talk to people and then set up a meeting. So I would set up meetings with these individuals and get them to the hotel meeting. So it took a year before I sponsored my first person, and I talked to a lot of people, but at the same time, how you think of yourself, how you feel about yourself, how you visualize who you are, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So who you are in your mind is who you are to everybody else. Yeah, I may have spoken to a lot of people, but they were seeing the Greg as I saw Greg.
Mm.
And I got people there to the hotel meeting, but I sponsored nobody. So, and I started implementing a method of affirmation, visualization, which I'm going to certainly touch on later. But after my first year, I sponsored my first person. It was a doctor's wife, and she, in turn, being the doctor's wife, got the doctor in. And she was also a doctor as well. She came from the Philippines. She was a doctor in the Philippines. But so they came in. So my first person was a doctor. From that point, based on my mindset, which had grown over that period of a year, I was really not the same person I was when I first started. I had posture. They looked at me differently as like an equal. So so from that doctor, it went to the next person was an engineer, and then the whole organization became a professional organization of professionals. You know, I was here, and I still thought that they were at this level. In reality, we are the same. I believe everybody's the same, but I looked at them like this, and I was bringing in all these professionals. So, you know, that was my first experience. It wasn't, again, I mean, I made money in that particular business. The type of money you could make was, well, you really had to get a lot of people in to make money because of the type of commission structure. But I made a couple $100 a month. But it wasn't a financial success, but it changed who I was radically. But I read hundreds of books on mindset, psychology, the methods that I utilized. People would come to me asking, "What are you doing, Greg?" Because they were like, you know, here you are, and they are professionals, and they can't sponsor the people that I was sponsoring. What are you doing? So again, I was in there for 2 years.
Okay.
In that 2 years, I was not the same person, not the same person whatsoever. Because I realized that you are not the labels that are placed on you by your family, your peers, your friends.
Yes.
It's the labels that you place on yourself.
Yes.
That are important.
Yes.
One thing that most people have to realize that the labels that place on others, the labels that others place on you are meaningless. It's the labels that you place on yourself that are meaningful. And that's what I learned and I evolved. And then in 2000, I got involved with other businesses, nothing dramatic, nothing major. I wasn't actually focused. So in 2006, I got involved again with network marketing. I got involved with attraction marketing. I started to get myself familiar with, or became friends with, a lot of 6 and 7 figure earners. At that time, we basically learned attraction marketing through different training platforms. And then I started to get recognized because I got involved with YouTube as a method of attraction marketing. And I created a YouTube channel at that time. I deleted the channel. Well, it was still open, but I deleted the videos. I don't know why I did it to this day. I had over 1 million views. So I was able to tap into the interest of people as it pertained to psychology, mindset. People have a desire to know why they operate the way they do. And I was able to provide some insight as far as what knowledge I had, as limited as it may have been. I was able to provide the insight to these people. So my YouTube channel grew pretty well. It did very well. And I did okay. I was making money, and then going to speeding it up. Got involved with online marketing again, affiliate marketing. At present date, I'm involved with affiliate marketing. I'm involved with trading. But the main premise here is really the fact that you could change your financial life. Yes, you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
But you can change your life through the mind. If you believe that you don't have what it takes,
Mm-hmm.
you're sadly mistaken. Everybody has the seeds of greatness within them.
Mm-hmm.
I see everybody as giants. Some people are sleeping giants. They have to wake up. Some are giants that are drowning in 2 inches of water. And all you have to do is get up, stand up, get moving, get going, and make it happen. Because
Mm-hmm.
we're all giants. We just have to wake up to that fact. And that's
Wow.
really
Wow. 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 I it's you've just filled my head with so much knowledge in the few minutes that you've talked just now. I've I've got so many questions, but I love your journey and I love how you expressed that your initial reason for getting into the program was to make money.
yes.
But what you received out of it was a much better you, a much better you from the Greg before and the Greg after. I think that probably had a huge impact on your life. And
Yeah.
yeah, I love network marketing type of programs because they work on the person. They work on the person, and I think there's a realization that the person is what might be holding them back from the things that they desire. But when you can break through those mental barriers, you can come out on the other side a much better you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now you mentioned what I'd like to know, because you mentioned that you read hundreds of books about mindset and performance. Tell us some of those influences that helped you.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many books that I've read. Of course, you know, the normal books that everybody else has heard about. But also, Awaken the Giant from Within by Anthony Robbins, because that worked on that particular book, which I recommend to everybody. Works on how you can change yourself by basically changing the picture in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You could turn down the volume of the voice in your mind through visualization. If there's something that bothers you, if
Mm-hmm.
something's getting in your way, you could change it by changing the color of the image in your mind, by seeing it burst into flames, just utilizing the mind to visualize things to limit the negative and increase the positive. And most people will do, if not everybody, will do things out of gaining, getting out of pain. Number one, to
Mm-hmm.
avoid pain. The people who are successful the most in life and are able to transform themselves the most is because they're trying to get out and away from pain. That's the biggest motivator, avoiding pain.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes for all of us. We all have a survival instinct within us, and that is the main thing. And it's if you realize how important the mind is, if everybody understood how incredibly important it was, they would change the way they think immediately. They would change their habits immediately in terms of what they do. And the principles in practice are not hard. You just got to do it, because it takes roughly 21 days to create a habit.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has it within them to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
all of the motivational and mindset and all of the knowledge that I have that comes out, it's all a stream of consciousness based on the hundreds of books that I've read over the years. It just comes out because it's in there. It's in the subconscious, my subconscious mind.
Right. So, yeah, when you are feeding your mind those really good information, it's going to show in the way you speak. And that's one thing that you mentioned earlier is when you first started off in the business, the people you struggled for a year. You struggled for a year before you got your first sponsor underneath you.
Yes.
What would you say was the changing, or that point that changed from, because after that you started getting more clients and you built a professional organization.
Right.
What would you say was that turning point there? Or if there was one?
Well, I think what really changed for me is is how serious I became as it pertained to changing my mind, and to the point of, I mean, at that point, I'm not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person, but I got on my knees one day, and I'm young, and I don't come from a religious family, but I got on my knees and prayed that I do not want this for myself anymore. I don't want to have this feeling of worthlessness anymore. I want to change. I need to change. I want to build this business. I need help. I came to the realization that I cannot do it myself. I'm not doing it myself. I give up on that. I need intervention. And as soon as I did that, it was almost like a switch. And that's when the business took off almost overnight. And that moment transformed everything from that moment going forward.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, good. That's awesome. That's awesome. Getting on your knees. I grew up in a very religious home, and I have to say that it's something that's still in my family today. I come from a family of 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we were raised in the church, and it's something why I'm not in the church now. If you were to ask my brother, my oldest brother, he would probably get a little upset.
Is that right? Okay. I won't ask him.
Yeah, he'd probably be upset, but I won't go there because that's a touchy subject with my family.
Right.
Yeah. But I believe in the power of prayer, like for you to get on your knees. And I sort of think of prayer as a call out to the universe, as me actually putting positive energy out into the universe. And I believe when you put positive energy out there, talk to us about energy, if you will, and thoughts becoming reality. Thoughts and energy becoming reality.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, number one, and this should I hope to help some people in terms of understanding who we are. We're energy.
Okay.
I mean, we're here having a conversation. We're having a conversation because there's a lot of stuff going on in our heads, electrical. I mean, we are energy. And the one thing people have to realize is energy can neither be created nor destroyed.
Yes.
So if energy can neither be created, we always were. And if it can't be destroyed, we always will be. And if you could take that energy within us and harness it through visualization, through affirmation, and again, I'm not religious, but I understand what works. I understand what works. And if you can harness the energy within all of us, within you and me, everybody has this, we all have energy. And if we can take that energy and refocus it, some people are angry, some people are sad. If you can take that hurt, that anger, whatever you're going through, and redirect it as a passion, as fuel to get things done, to achieve the success that you desire in life, that is possible.
Yes.
Because I utilize anything that may have happened in my past during my childhood years as fuel to keep me moving. That's where I derive my passion, is from that. So I utilize the negative into a positive. And unless you have a specific question about energy, I'll be more than happy to address it.
Oh yes, it's what we hold. There's a saying that that a lot of people, they'll say that thoughts. Well, it starts with thoughts, and then thoughts become our actions,
Yes.
and our actions become our behaviors, and then as we continue those behaviors, they become our habits, and then habits are what translate into the direction that we go in life. But it starts, the very beginning, it starts with the thought. And I can always remember, because I've absorbed hundreds of books on personal development. I went on a journey myself to find my self-confidence, because I felt like it's funny. I felt as though it seemed probably to everyone around me that I was a confident person, but inside of me, I didn't feel that way about myself. Yes. And I went on a journey to actually find myself, and I searched in a lot of self-help books. Tony Robbins is one. I love Awaken the Giant Within. That was a very instrumental in my life. And then his Personal Power, and then the world-renowned Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And those books taught me that it starts with a thought. Everything that is in existence today outside, if we look at these blinds, it once started off as a thought in someone's mind. If we look at this chair, whatever design, it first started with the thought in someone's mind. That just, when I first learned that, it blew my mind. The fact that we can control, we have much greater impact on the things in our surroundings than we ever imagined. Tell us some of your experiences with that led you to believe in that so much.
Well, one thing I want to point out, I read a book called, I think it was called Gifted Hands by Ben Carson.
Okay.
I'm from, Baltimore, Maryland. So he was working here at Johns Hopkins, and in his book, he spoke about it, that he needed to pass a class. I think it was chemistry, and he needed to study. But unfortunately, the day before he was going to take the test, he fell asleep. But when he fell asleep, he had a dream. And in that dream, he saw somebody go to the chalkboard, and they drew out these equations, one after another, one after another, one after another. And then he woke up, and then he went to take the test. He figured, okay, well, this is not good. I need this class to pass. Mm-hmm. And the first question on the test was the first equation that was in his dream. Then it was the second equation, then the third, then the fourth, then the fifth. So the whole test was written out in front of him on that board in his dream. So what you focus on before you go to sleep is in there, and your mind is working on a solution, a way to make it happen. So while he was sleeping, because that was such a deep desire for him to pass this exam, his mind found the answers for him and gave him the answers.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
And I took that and started to utilize the transformation of thought to become what you want to be in the future through visualization. Because your mind doesn't know the difference between what you visualize and what is actually happening. If you take, say, for example, a basketball players, and you take 10 of them, or 20 basketball players, you break them up into 10. 10 will do visualizations of throwing the basket into the hoop, and the other half will actually do it. Visualization and the ones that do it. And the ones that are actually visualized doing it actually performed the same, if not better, than the ones that actually physically did it. So with that understanding, I visualize myself achieving that which I desire as if it has already come to pass. Don't visualize it as if it's something in the far future. Visualize it as if it is here now. How would you feel? What would the emotions be? Where would you be? Again, how do you feel? What do you see if you have achieved that which you want to achieve? And make it as real as possible. Make the emotions as real as possible. I mean, how would you feel? You close your eyes and you would put yourself in that position where you've actually achieved it. And your mind will start to work towards achieving that, because in your mind, you've already achieved it. If you do this enough times over a period of time, your mind things will happen. Doors will open. Opportunities will just come from nowhere. You'll meet people that you never met before. And things shift. Jumping in faith, doing things that you're scared to do, opens up things that I'm not quite understanding. It's I don't know if it's quantum physics. That's an interesting topic. Quantum physics, quantum mechanics, where if you visualize something, you can actually create that if you hold that vision in your mind long enough. But the mind is an incredible thing. It is underestimated. It's not appreciated. And most people, if you realize that all you need to do is simple methods, simple things each day to achieve your goals, you may not feel like you've made it, because some of you may not have made it to that degree. But if you visualize yourself every day before you wake up, before you go to bed, your mind will start working towards achieving that which you want. Affirmations. I am successful. I am happy. I am healthy. I am wealthy. Period. Your mind has to realize what you're saying is false. It goes into your subconscious mind. If you say that over and over and over and over again, which was why I transformed in the 2 years from when I first started, when I had no self-confidence, to somebody who had self-confidence and who was respected, is because of affirmations all the time. In my mind, just saying it over and over again, saying it before I went to bed, when I woke up, constantly. The mind found a way.
I am a 1,000% believer, and actually, it really makes me emotional. It makes me emotional when it's like a beautiful gift that we are given. It is a beautiful gift, and when I see things that I have visualized come in front of me, it brings tears to my eyes, because I'll say, I saw this, and I feel like, oh my gosh, and every time I accomplish something that I was dreaming about, it makes me want to go for something bigger. I say, if I can do this on a small scale, I'm gonna, oh, what can't I accomplish? What
Anything and everything.
exactly? What can't I accomplish? So you know what? I'm gonna put that outrageous goal into my mind and let it go to work. And then I have to understand that, okay, maybe the bigger the accomplishment, the longer the time frame. Maybe it won't happen as easy as, okay, I want, bam, you see that right there? Guns out, sun's out.
I see it.
Now okay, even though I'm losing weight, but as long as I'm following you, Greg, I'm gonna be fine with my weight soon.
You have to explain that to your audience.
I know, right? But I really I'm a 1,000% firm believer. But what I wanted to ask you is what, because I don't think everyone either believes it or everyone doesn't recognize the power to take advantage of it. You said that if we would just harness, what do you think holds most people back from realizing the potential of that we hold inside our own minds?
Well, knowledge. People are ignorant sometimes. Ignorance, there's a cure for ignorance. It's knowledge. Stupidity is forever. There's no cure for that. But ignorance is mainly the reason. They just don't know. You don't know what you don't know. I mean, if I had not been educated on how the mind works, in terms of the importance of affirmations, visualizations, and this came from people that were seven-figure earners. We're talking about people that were making $1 million a day. I mean, we're talking about high-level achievers do this. Now, some people may not want to do it because they see it as woo-woo. It's not woo-woo. It's not even necessarily, it's not religious or spiritual in nature, because I'm not really a religious person. But if what works for somebody who's making $1 billion, if they're using this, then maybe I may want to use it as well. Maybe there's something to it. And why don't you try for 21 days? Give it a try. Maybe say, do this. Do it for 60 days. Visualizing yourself in the morning and when you're waking up, at night when you're going to bed, as if you've achieved it. Affirmations. I even at times have a recording near my bed with affirmations. And if you just do it, just, you may not necessarily understand it. You don't have to understand it. I don't understand gravity, but I understand if I jump off of a building, I'm going to fall. I don't have to understand the mathematical equation that makes that happen. I just know that it happens, just like a magnet. I don't necessarily understand how a magnet works, but they're polar opposites that seem to propel. There seems to be something there. I don't see it. And when the wind comes, you're outside in the wind, in the weather. I don't see the wind. You feel the wind. So it's not necessarily a matter of understanding it. I mean, quantum physics has come a long way in realizing this, and this is real science. This is not based on woo-woo. Do it. 30 days, 60 days, and see where you are in that period of time if you do it every day. Visualize an affirmation. Visualize an affirmation. If you do it for 60 days, give it 60 days. I mean, if you want to even do it for just 21 days, but it will change your life. It works. I know it works. I'm a kind of person that I don't believe anything unless I actually see it and experience it. And have had experiences in my life
Mm-hmm.
that are highly unusual. For example,
Mm-hmm.
back in 2000,
Mm-hmm.
I was in a situation where I had to sell my condo,
Okay.
and I had to come up with $7,000. At that time, I really didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
But through the power of the mind, in knowing I needed this money, I thought about it all the time. But at the same time, I was at peace.
Mm.
Key, I was at peace.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Go,
And I was
Greg,
at,
go.
yes,
I
I was
love
at
it.
peace because I internally realized I was going to be okay. I realized I didn't have the money, but I was going to be okay. So the closing was going to happen the next day. I get an envelope in the mail from an accident that happened several years prior for exactly the amount I needed to get out of that situation.
You've got to be kidding me.
A day before. So years prior, it was already in the works to accommodate what was going to happen at that moment.
That day, years before. And you, oh my gosh, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, oh my gosh. That's unbelievable. That it oh my gosh. When things happen to you, you may not understand them at the time, and they may pass and it just goes out of your mind.
Right.
Those things were working for you years later.
Absolutely.
That's unbelievable.
What you do today is your future.
Yes.
There is no future. It's an illusion.
It's yeah.
Well, I'm going to do it tomorrow. You got those individuals, and I was one of them. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. I think it was maybe Rocky 3,
Mm-hmm.
where Apollo said, "There is no tomorrow." Very true. There has never been a tomorrow. Time is an illusion. The only thing you have is right now. Right now. Now you have right now. So what you do in the moment is your future. If you change what you do in habits and methods, then you can change your future now based off of just changing your thoughts. And if you do that consistently over time, you won't be the same person, period. Period.
That's true. Wow. What you've said, you're saying some very powerful stuff, Greg. It's very powerful. And I feel it as you're speaking. As you're speaking, I am imagining, I'm looking at my current situation. And this is why I get so emotional, because I realize that this current situation, just the fact that we're having this conversation right now, is a result of some visualization, and it's a result of attracting to us those people and the things that will get us toward what we want to accomplish.
Yes, this was created in the works years before. Years
Yes.
before there was a design in motion to allow this to occur, to the transformation of who you are in the present moment through your visualizations, your self-talk, and through that, what you have in the moment is where you are. And if somebody out there is not happy with where they are,
Mm-hmm.
And I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there where I had no money. I had to figure out ways to figure it out. I don't know. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but it happened because I decided to make a change. I decided to do things I didn't understand. Even the day when I got on my knees, I didn't understand exactly what made me do it. I understand that the leaders in that organization did it. They always talked about, you let yourself go and their belief. So I decided, well, at this point, it's certainly not working. I'm not doing anything for myself. My actions aren't accomplishing anything. I'm not getting any results. So I need some type of intervention. I need the universe. I need to utilize the mind and the energy in my mind and refocus it outward, because the vibration that you're in creates what you receive. You create your tribe based on the vibration that you actually go through every day. If you're in a negative state every day, you're going to attract negativity. If you're in a positive state every day, you're going to attract that as well. So how do you feel? And if you feel a certain way, change it, because you can change it. Darkness cannot exist in the existence of light. Let me repeat that. Darkness cannot exist in the presence of light. And we are all that and more. You don't have to believe in anything. Just believe in the fact that it's possible. Just do it. Just do it.
So what are you feeding your mind these days?
Well, I'm utilizing what works. And what works is visualization and affirmation. Visualization and affirmation. Visualizing, but also feeling as you would if you had it. So you have to sit back, close your eyes, and visualize. And how would you feel if you had what you desire? If you are looking at getting and achieving a certain financial mark, if you're looking to make, say, as an example, 10,000 a month, visualize what you would feel if you had that money in your bank account. How would you feel if you had $1 million, 2, 3, 10 million in your bank account and you visualize seeing it? How would you feel? Visualize yourself with a check in your hand. What does that check smell like? What does it look like? It has your name on it. You see the amount, 10 million, perhaps?
Yeah. I know. You bring up the point, kind of what I had talked about a little bit earlier. When I first started doing active visualization and seeing myself in goals, my goals weren't that big. I kind of felt as though, 10 million, that seems out of the realm of my thinking, out of the realm of my possibility.
Right.
So what do you say to someone that wants to really do this type of visualization, but they might feel as though those numbers aren't attainable? They aren't attainable. They don't feel attainable.
Well,
because if you say 10 million, then why not 100 billion? Or why not a trillion?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it all comes down to belief. What you believe in your heart, you can achieve. Belief is a power that makes things happen. If you visualize something long enough and you believe it with all of your heart, you're going to achieve it. Now, if you don't believe in the moment, it's going to change. What you do now is going to create a moment in time when you're going to have enough belief in yourself to want to visualize 10 million. But, you also have to be realistic.
Right.
Expectations have to be in balance. I mean, if I want to be a professional basketball player and I'm 5'7", I can do all the affirmations all I want in the basement and visualize myself from day to dusk, but it ain't going to happen.
So
now, I'm not going to grow, I'm not going to grow 5 inches.
Yeah, for me, I think it was the accomplishment of these attainable, the accomplishment of the attainable, maybe the short term goals that I was able to accomplish. And those gave me confidence that, okay, this
Yeah,
works.
you
You
have
know,
to.
okay, this works. And if I can do this with a $5,000 goal, then I can do this with a $10,000 goal. And I would, that's how I think I mentioned that, how I would set these goals. And then I'd say, oh, shucks, okay, I did it. Now let me just go for the bigger ones, because the bigger ones can take a lot longer. And if I think if someone were to start with a humongous goal without having some type of win along the way, that could probably be a little discouraging.
Yeah, I mean, for example, my example, as far fetched as it is,
Mm-hmm.
certainly if I had visualized from the very beginning at a young age that I was a professional basketball player and I went through the motions of actually playing basketball and actually doing what was needed. There are people that were shorter than me that were that were professional basketball players. So it depends on the time frame. But you pointed out something that's very important. If you don't believe something, then put in your mind something that you would believe. 3,000, maybe $1,000 a month extra. Visualize that if you believe that is a possibility. 3,000, 10,000, whatever you believe you can achieve. And let me repeat that because I think that's very important. What you believe you can achieve and you can conceive if you visualize. If you visualize it, it can come to pass, but you have to have that belief. So start small, but why? Why start small? Because in time, what you visualize over a period of time is going to come to pass. So I always say reach for the stars, but start small and then you gradually increase it because
Well,
you may not necessarily be. I mean, when I had no self-confidence, when I first started out, when I was in my early 20s, I wasn't even thinking about
well,
10,000 a month. I would have been happy with $1,000 a month.
mm. and but I really say start small. You know, it's because I see a lot of people out there that are so quick to give up. They are so quick to give up. Not everyone has the determination and the perseverance to stick through it until the accomplishment of what they can see. And a lot of times they may give up right before the opportunity, well, right before the turning point. You For you to stay consistent for 1 full year without having any sponsors is probably, the 80-20 rule, probably more like the top 5%.
Yeah.
Not very many people would have stuck with it, especially in today's age. And that was back in 93, did you say?
Yeah, 93.
That was
93.
back in 93.
No internet.
Fast,
I mean,
fast forward, we are in 2021 where the attention span is that of a gnat.
yes.
If they do not get results, and I tried this, I tried that, I tried this, you tried 4 things and you're ready to quit.
That's also important in what you said. They
Uh,
tried. Now, if I put a pencil on the table and I try to pick it up, I can't do it. I tried. I couldn't do it. But if I do it, I do it. I pick it up. There's a difference in how you speak. If you're
uh,
going to try something, it may probably not going to happen. But if you actually do it, then that's where the magic is. It's in the doing, not in the trying.
It's funny you say that because right before our call, someone had messaged, well, I gotten a comment and they told me that they were getting overwhelmed. And then they said that, but I'm trying. And my response was, there is no try. There's either do or do not. And then I said, from Yoda.
Yes, Yoda was a very wise creature.
Yoda is a Yoda. That's a Yoda quote.
But
But
yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing.
but I seriously, I do. I've. It's funny. I've been in the online space for a little bit over a year, close to a year and a half, and it's almost as if even a year and a half, you're a veteran. You are a veteran, and I think that, and it's always my opinion that people will get involved with looking at other people's progress and feel as though that what they're doing is they're not capable, or they make themselves not feel. I say they make themselves feel that way, but it's sort of some outside pressures, I think, too. And to be honest, I think some of it may be deliberate.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, it can be marketing techniques to make people feel, they want you to feel emotionally, and they want to get you to move. So there are some communications that can be designed to make you feel as though you're something else. But you touched on it earlier. You touched on it earlier when you said that you are not the labels that other people put on you. You are the labels that you put on yourself.
Absolutely. The worst thing you can really do is to compare yourself with somebody else, because you don't know where they've been. They could have, I mean, their struggles and their journeys, their challenges, if you will, could have been 20, 30 years in the making. And you're just seeing the final painting. You're seeing the final, you don't know what they went through prior to that. So you have to go through the same process. And, those that want to be, millionaires in a week, that's just not going to happen. You got to give yourself a business is any brick and mortar business will generally not be, in the green. It's going to be in the red for a while before you actually start seeing a profit. And this goes for most businesses. And they, for example, if you buy a franchise and you spent the kind of money you buy for that, which could be $1 million plus these days, you spend that kind of investment to do that. Are you going to give up in a week? Oh, it didn't work. No, you have to take it as serious as you would had you spent $1 million to do it. If you treat anything in life like a hobby, like you're collecting stamps or butterflies, you're going to achieve exactly what a hobby provides: nothing. So you have to take it absolutely. You have to take it very serious. And now, I'm very fortunate that I am working from home full time as an online marketer. No stress. I can do what I want, when I want, how I want, and have the pleasure of sitting here today and having an opportunity to speak with you, when if I had the job, I would not have been able to do this. Paul, so I'm gonna spend about an hour or so with doing a Zoom call. I'll be right with you. That would not have flown. That would not have worked.
Not at all. Not at all.
And everybody, if I can do it, I believe without a shadow of a doubt, anybody can achieve greatness within them, because you have greatness within them. You just have to believe and harness that greatness. And you may not necessarily believe right away, which is why I stated, do the small things, do the visualization, do the affirmation. I say it's small, but it's huge.
Yeah.
Some people
Yeah.
just don't understand it. It's absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Try it out. I said, try, do it.
Don't not try.
Yeah, if you try it, then it'll last about 30 seconds and you'll be done. Do it. Do it. Start now.
I was just so looking forward to this conversation with you, Greg, and it has not disappointed. I know we're coming to probably a 40 minutes in this call. It doesn't seem that way. It doesn't seem that way. I could talk to you forever.
I'm passionate about this. I love this topic. I love mindset, psychology, why people do what they do. You do A, they do B. It's very, very interesting. And people take themselves way too seriously. They got to relax.
Mm.
And I'm guilty of taking myself seriously at times. Everybody, we're human. But I'm extremely focused. And that has a lot to do with it because
I love that. I love that. I've got so much to learn from just what we've talked about. You've awakened some of the little giant in me. but we could go on forever, but we want to just end it, and I want to give you the floor for some final closing words. And I want you to imagine that you were sitting at the table. You're not religious, but there's the Last Supper, and you're at the Last Supper, and you've got 12 of the closest people in your life surrounding you, and you know this will be your last opportunity to leave them with your best words. And that's what I want you to end us with. And then also when you end, let everyone know how they can get in touch with you. And we'll actually even put it on the screen as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And yeah, the Last Supper. So my words of wisdom.
Yes.
Well, the only thing I can tell you is you have to do. You have to do. And if you can do and believe with all of your heart, you can achieve anything and everything in your life. You may be watching this and you may not believe that you can achieve anything or everything that you have in your heart to achieve. But if I could provide anything at all, I could only go back to what has worked for me. Visualization, affirmation, the tongue is very, very important. Like a rudder on a ship, a small movement of the rudder can change the direction of the journey by thousands of miles. Watch what you speak. Watch what you say. I don't have to understand it, just like I don't understand gravity. But watch what you say and what you speak. If somebody says, "How's your day?" It's fantastic. You may not feel like it's fantastic, but when you say you're fantastic, it's going into your subconscious mind and it will come to pass. It will happen. So affirmations, visualizations, and I don't believe that anybody is ordinary. I don't believe in ordinary. I believe that everybody is ordinarily extraordinary, period. And in that, I can only provide that which works. Do this, and it could change your life. It's as simple as that. And most people complicate things. They try to complicate things. It's not complicated. All you have to do is just change the way you speak to yourself and what you see in your head. That's it. And in terms of how people can reach me, You can reach me at gregdemario.com. That just goes to my Facebook page. And you can send me a direct message. I'm currently, if anybody has a desire, a need to create passive income on a daily basis, every day, 7 days a week, get back with me. Because there are a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of scams out there as it pertains to creating passive income, especially in the trading space. When it comes to, say, for example, cryptocurrency, high returns such as promises of 20% per day, 10% per day. These are unsustainable and unreal, and they're not going to last. But I can show you a way to create a passive income, realistically, passive income every day, 7 days a week, and it works, period. So if you have that, if you want to create a passive income, and I'm talking a passive, you don't have to refer anybody. You can if you want. They have that option, but you don't really have to. If you have that need, that desire to make something of your life create a passive income where you can really do whatever you want. And there's so much peace in my heart knowing that I have income coming in regardless of whether I do anything at this point. I really don't have to do anything. It's coming to me every day, every week, every month. So hit me up on direct messenger on my Facebook page, gregdemario.com. Again, remember, you're a giant and it's time to wake up.
That is awesome, Greg. I could talk to you for hours, and we'll do another one of these too. But
we'll do it.
We thank you for watching. I'll leave all of his contact information below, and until next time, we'll see you soon. Thanks.